Dear audience, welcome to the Chaincourt Theatre Company's performance of Sherlock Holmes, A Scandal in Bohemia. The performance will begin momentarily. According to Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard, flash photography, as well as the use of any modern devices to film or record this show, are strictly prohibited. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please use the marked escape doors nearest to you. By the way, Mrs. Hudson asked us to inform you that eating and drinking in this room is not allowed. She has enough chores to do as it is. Now, lean back and enjoy our show. We welcome you to the private rooms of the famous Sherlock Holmes, 221 Baker Street in London, England. It's the 20th of March in the year 18.
To my friend, Miss Sherlock Holmes, she will always remain the woman. I have seldom heard Holmes refer to her under any other name. In Holmes's eyes, she eclipses the whole of humankind, and I believe my friend's feelings for her were as close to love as her precise and perfectly reasoning mind would allow. For to introduce love into Holmes's finely adjusted temperament was to introduce a distracting factor which might throw a doubt upon all of her mental results. And yet, there was but one woman to her, the late Irene Adler, of dubious and questionable memory. Prior to this case, it had been some time since I had last seen Holmes. After my marriage, our paths crossed less frequently, but I knew she remained at our old lodgings, keeping up her study of crime. I often saw her name in the papers next to cases previously called unsolvable and hopeless.
Watson.
Good evening, Holmes.
Good evening. Have a chair, will you? Wedlock suits you. You must have gained 7.5 pounds since I saw you last.
Only 7.
Indeed. I should say your scales need calibration. And in practice again, I see. How good of you to look in on me on your way back from this evening's house visit by the riverside.
My dear Holmes, this is too much. You would certainly have been burned had you lived a few centuries ago. It is true, of course, but I can't imagine how you've deduced it.
It is simplicity itself. A gentleman walks into my room, smelling of iodoform, with the black mark of nitrate on his right forefinger, and a bulge in his left overcoat pocket, where he has secreted his stethoscope. Ah, Watson, I would be dull indeed not to pronounce such a man an active member of the medical profession.
Brava, Holmes. But the patient, surely.
There, at the inside of your left shoe, I note fresh scrape marks at the edges of the sole where you have attempted to remove mud, but enough remains to identify. By its gray color, I can state with certainty that the mud in which you trod is composed mostly of common river silt.
Every time I hear your explanations, they appear to be so ridiculously simple that I should be able to deduce them myself. Yet again and again I am baffled until you explain your process, although I am sure my eyes are as good as yours.
Quite so. You see, but you do not observe. The distinction is clear. For example, you have frequently seen the steps which lead up from the hall to this room.
Frequently?
How often, do you think?
Well, some hundreds of times.
Then, how many are there?
How many? I don't know.
I know that there are 17 steps because I have both seen and observed. By the way, since you are interested in these little problems, and since you are good enough to chronicle one or two of my trifling experiences, you may be interested in this. It came by the last post.
No signature, no address. There will call upon you tonight at 7:45 a lady who desires to consult you. Your recent services to one of the royal houses of Europe have shown that you are one who may safely be trusted with matters which are of an importance which can hardly be exaggerated. This account of you we have from all quarters received. Be in your chamber then at that hour, and do not take it amiss if your visitor wears a mask. This is indeed a mystery, Holmes. What do you imagine it means?
I have no data yet, and it is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. You must not be tempted to twist facts to suit theories. Now, apart from the message, what do you deduce from the letter itself?
It appears a woman's hand, no signature. The sender is being secretive. And by the quality of the paper, the lady must be well-to-do. It is peculiarly strong and stiff.
Peculiar. That is the very word. It is not an English paper at all. Hold it up to the light.
I see a watermark, EGPGT.
And what do you make of it?
The name of the maker, I presume, or rather the monogram.
Not at all. G with the small t, a common contraction for Gesellschaft, the German word for company. The P, of course, is for Papier. Now, the EG, that is most interesting. I will have to refer to my geographical dictionary for that. Iglo, here we are, Egria. It is in a German-speaking country, Bohemia, not far from Karlsbad. remarkable as being the scene of the death of Weinstein and for its numerous glass factories and paper mills. My boy, what do you make of that?
The paper was made in Bohemia.
Precisely. And the woman who wrote it is German.
German.
Yes. Note the peculiar construction of the sentence. This account of you we have from all quarters received. No one French or Russian could have written that. No, only a German is so uncourteous to their verbs.
What else?
What else indeed? Who is this woman who writes upon Bohemian paper and prefers to wear a mask rather than show her face? If nothing else, there is money in this case. There is a lady for you, Miss Holmes. She says you're expecting her. Thank you, Mrs. Holmes. And here she comes to resolve all our doubts.
I think that I better leave, Holmes.
Not a bit, Doctor. Stay where you are. I am lost without my Boswell. And this promises to be interesting. It would be a pity to miss it.
But your clients.
Don't mind her. I may want her help. And so may she. Here she comes. Sit down in this armchair, Doctor, and give us your best attention. The lady, Miss Holmes. You had my note? I told you I would call. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson, who is occasionally good enough to help me in my cases. Whom have I the honor to address? You may address me as the Countess von Kram of Bohemia. I understand that this gentleman, your friend, is a man of honor and discretion. If not, I should much prefer to communicate with you alone. You may say before this gentleman anything which you may say to me. It is either the both of us or neither. Then I must begin by binding you both to absolute secrecy for the next 2 years. At the end of the time, the matter will be of no importance. At present, it is not too much to say that it is of such weight it might have an influence upon European history. I promise.
So do I.
You will excuse the mask. The person who employs me wishes their agent to be unknown to you. I must also confess that the title I gave is not exactly my own. I was aware of that. I am instructed to great delicacy and every possible precaution, for this has the potential to grow into a scandal that might seriously compromise one of the reigning families of Europe. To speak plainly, the matter implicates the great house of Ormstein, the royal family of Bohemia. I was also aware of that. If you would condescend to state your case, so that I might be able to advise you, Your Majesty. You are right. I am the queen. Why should I attempt to conceal it? Why indeed? Your Majesty had not spoken before I was aware I was addressing Wilhelmina Kunigunde Adelheid von Ormstein, Grand Duchess of Kassel-Feldstein and hereditary Queen of Bohemia. You must understand, I am not accustomed to doing such business in person. Yet the matter is so delicate, I dare not confide it to another. Therefore, I come incognito from Prague for the purpose of consulting you. Then, pray consult. The facts are briefly these. Some 5 years ago, during a lengthy visit to Warsaw, I made acquaintance with the well-known American adventurer, Irene Adler. You are familiar with her? Kindly look her up in my index, Doctor.
Adler Liebman. Here, Adler Irene, born in New Jersey, 1858, trained contralto, who worked at almost all of the premier opera houses. La Scala, 2 seasons as the prima donna at the Imperial Opera of Warsaw.
Yes.
She has since retired from operatic stage and currently resides in London.
Quite so. It is to my understanding that your majesty became entangled with this young person, wrote her some compromising letters, and is now desirous of getting those letters back.
Precisely so. But how?
Was there a secret marriage?
None.
Legal papers or certificates?
None.
Then I fail to follow. If these letters were produced for the purpose of blackmailing your majesty, how is she to prove their authenticity?
There is the writing, forgery, my private notepaper,
Stolen,
my own seal,
imitate,
my photograph.
bought.
We are both in the photograph.
Oh dear. That is very bad. Your majesty has indeed committed an indiscretion.
I was mad, insane.
You have compromised yourself seriously.
I was only crown princess then, young, foolish.
The photograph must be recovered.
We have tried and failed.
Your majesty must pay. It must be bought.
She will not sell.
Stolen, then.
5 attempts have been made. Thrice her house in London was burgled. Twice her person and her luggage have been searched.
No sign of it?
Absolutely none.
It is quite a pretty little problem.
But a very serious one to me.
Very, indeed. And what does she propose to do with the photograph?
To ruin me.
But how?
I am about to be married.
So I have heard.
A mere shadow of doubt on my conduct would end the matter.
And Irene Adler?
Threatens to send them the photograph. And she will do it. She is the most beautiful of women, but her soul is as resolute as steel.
You are sure that she has not sent it yet?
Yes,
Why?
because she said it would be sent to the newspapers on the day my engagement is announced to the public. That will be Monday.
Oh, then we have 3 days yet. That is very fortunate, as I have 1 or 2 matters of importance to attend to just at present. Your majesty will be staying in London for now.
Yes, at the Lane, by the name Countess von
I shall let you know how we progress.
Pray do so.
Then to the money.
You have carte blanche. For the photograph, I would give a province of my kingdom.
And for present expenses?
I have 300 pounds in gold and 700 in notes.
Thank you, your majesty.
Isn't that it?
Yes, Miss Holmes. Would you show our client the way out? Good night, your majesty. We shall soon have some good news for you.
I will anxiously await his name. Good night.
£1,000.
Yes. If you would be good enough to call at 3 tomorrow, I should very much like to chat this little matter over with you.
I shall see you tomorrow, dear friend. Good night.
Good night. She's still out, I'm afraid. You know how it is. Didn't even eat this morning. Left in a hurry, just after 8 o'clock.
No matter, Mrs. Hudson. I shall wait for her here. How have you been getting on?
Oh, she keeps me on my toes, our Miss Holmes, but it's been quieter with just her here. And she does attract interesting times, doesn't she? The woman yesterday evening alone.
She was quite something. Very ostentatious.
No English lady would be caught out looking like that.
The boots? Ridiculous!
Never mind the boots, the coat, and that mask. To be a smarter one than she to fool Miss Holmes. You to it then. No, really. Good day, Watson. I am sure you cannot guess how I've employed my time today.
I can't imagine, but I see you have been portraying one of your characters. I assume to watch the habits in the house of Miss Irene Adler.
Quite right. But I am sure you will agree the day was peculiar even for me. I left this morning in the character of a stable hand out of work. There is a wonderful camaraderie among horsey folk. If you are one of them, you will know all there is to know. I soon found Bradwell Lodge, a nice little villa, garden out back. The lock on the door is good, but the windows have those silly English locks that a child could open. I walked around the house and eventually came to the stable. There I encountered 2 horse grooms on break.
Looking for work?
Is there any to be had?
It's a busy stable, lass. There's always work to be had.
Work a few hours and you'll get 2 pence and a glass of half and half.
Thank you. Might I inquire whose stable I'm working for this morning?
Miss Irene Adler?
And she is a good mistress.
Aye, fair and pays well. Gave Jack a raise last month when his wife had a baby.
And right well pretty too.
Don't get John started. He'll sing her praises until you beg him to stop.
The truth ought to be spoken. The most beautiful woman in England, Miss Adler. I'll tell you.
She doesn't go out much. Good for the horses, that.
Only once a day at 5 in the evening. And then back again at 7 sharp for dinner. Like a clockwork, the good madam.
And sometimes in the evenings to sing at her concerts.
Does the madam have many visitors, then?
A few friends come to visit every now and then.
Oh, and Mr. Norton, of course.
And Mr. Norton, quite dashing, is in a lawyer. Calls at least once every day.
Oh, sometimes twice. The cabman says he lives in Temple.
Enough talk for now. You want to earn your 2 pence in beer? You'll have to put in a few hours of work.
And were you able to discover the nature of their relationship or the object behind his visits? Is she simply his client?
In which case, she would have transferred the photograph to him.
Which she probably would not have done if he was her lover or simply a friend.
My thoughts exactly at the time. It was just prior to noon. I had finished my work, and over a pipe, I sat contemplating whether I should turn my attention to the gentlemen's rooms in Temple, when a carriage arrived. A handsome gentleman sprang out.
Dear man, wait a few minutes. I shall be back shortly.
The illustrious Mr. Norton.
Yes, he was in the house about half an hour, and then the 2 emerged in more of a flurry. To the Church of Santa
Like the devil. You need to be there in 20 minutes.
This was quite too good to lose, Watson. I dashed over to the street and saw an empty cab. Before the driver could object, I promised the man half a sovereign if he reached the church in less than 20 minutes.
My word.
I don't think I ever drove faster, but still the others were there before us. There was not a soul in the church save Miss Adler and her beau, and a priest at the altar. I quickly sat in a pew and bowed my head like any idler who had dropped into church.
No, sir. You will need to procure a witness. I will not take part in anything unlawful.
Thank God you will do.
Okay, come, 3 minutes are illegal.
Will she suffice?
Will you attest the marriage between Miss Adler and Mr. Norton?
She will. So I will.
Are you aware of any reasons why these persons should not be allowed to wed lawfully and before God?
I am not.
Do you promise to stand witness to anyone who questions the legality of the marriage?
I shall.
Then we will begin. Miss Irene Adler, will you take the here present Godfrey Norton, bachelor, to be your lawfully wedded husband? Will you love him, honor, and protect him, and, forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live?
I will.
Mr. Godfrey Norton, will you take the here present Irene Adler, spinster, to be your lawfully wedded wife? Will you love her, honor, and protect her, and, forsaking all others, be faithful to her, as long as you both shall live?
I will.
In the presence of God, I proclaim you to be husband and wife. May he give you his blessing and watch over you in good times as in bad.
No!
Was a blur. At first, I thought I had been made, but before I could react, I found myself attesting to matters I did not know, and in an instant, it was all over. Miss Irene Adler was married to Mr. Godfrey Norton. My arrival, it seems, just saved the two from dashing out to the street in search of a witness to the marriage.
Was there an informality with the license?
There must have been.
I will take my leave now, but I promise I will be at yours tonight, the usual time.
Here, dear, as a thank you for your service today, my husband and I are very grateful.
Thank you.
This is a very unexpected turn of affairs, I must say.
Indeed. I'm sure you are now able to understand why I was laughing earlier. Even for me, it's been the most peculiar of days. Now, I'm hungry and I shall call for something to eat. We have plans to make for this evening and I shall leave you be. Mrs. Hudson? Miss Holmes, could I bother you for lunch? I've been too busy to think of food and I'm likely to be busier still this evening.
Always the same with you, Miss Holmes.
I shall bring it up as soon as it's ready. Can I count on your cooperation tonight, dear Watson?
I shall be delighted.
You don't mind breaking the law,
Not in the least.
nor running a chance of arrest?
Not in a good cause.
Oh, the cause is excellent.
Then I am your man. What is it you need me for?
In 2 hours, we must be at the scene of action. Miss Irene, or Madame, rather, returns from her drive at 7. We must be at Bryony Lodge to meet her.
What then?
You see, the marriage simplifies matters. The photograph becomes a double-edged weapon now.
It is as much a risk to her own marriage as it is to the Queen's.
Exactly. Now, the question is, where are we to find the photograph?
Might it be hidden on her person?
The Queen has already waylaid and searched her. It seems unlikely that Madame Irene would take the risk to have it on her should it happen again.
Where then? Her banker or her lawyer?
That is a possibility, but I am inclined to think neither. Why should she hand it over to anyone else? She can trust herself, but she has no possibility to guarantee the same for a businessman who might fall victim to political or economic influence. And she wants to use it within a few days. It must be where she can lay her hands upon it. I am betting it is in her own house.
It has been burgled thrice.
By men hired by the queen. They did not know how to look.
Oh, but you do.
I will not look.
How do you intend to find it then?
I will get her to show me.
Surely she will refuse.
She won't be able to.
I am not sure I follow, my friend.
Leave that to me. I have arranged what must occur, and hopefully all will go to plan. There is only one point on which I must insist. You must not interfere, come what may. You understand?
I am to be neutral.
Do nothing whatsoever. There will be some unpleasantness. Do not join in it. Wait until I'm in the house. 4 or 5 minutes afterwards, the sitting room window will open. Place yourself close to it.
Yes.
And when I raise my hand, throw what I give you into it and cry fire. Do you follow?
Entirely.
It is nothing very formidable, simply a small product. When you cry fire, it will be taken up by others. When you hear their cry, walk away. I will meet you shortly after. Am I making myself clear?
I am to remain neutral, to get near the window. Then, at your signal to throw in the smoke bomb, cry fire and walk away.
Precisely.
Then you may rely on me entirely.
Excellent, I think. Yes. There. Madame Norton is just turning the corner. Now, carry out my orders to the letter.
Are you hurt, Madam? No, no harm has come to me, but please check upon the lady, Lizzie. Miss, might she be dead, Madam? Oh, no, there is still life in her.
She can't lie in the street. Should we bring her in, madam?
Surely. Might you lend my major support?
Certainly, madam.
Lizzie, some scotch and smelling salts.
Certainly, madam.
And be a dear and prepare some tea.
Yes, madam. And shall I call for the doctor? Only she does look like she might need one.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Should we open the window?
She does look like she might profit from it.
Thank you, madame.
Fire! Fire!
Only a false alarm, madame. Only a false alarm. Rest assured.
False alarm.
Lizzie, I believe it best if you were to escort our guest outside now.
Yes, madam, of course.
You did it very nicely, Doctor. Nothing could have gone better.
You have the photograph.
I know where it is.
She showed you.
I do not wish to make a mystery. It was perfectly simple. She was bound to have me in. What else could she do? And into her sitting room, which was the very room which I suspected. It lay between that and her bedroom, and I was determined to see which. They laid me on a couch. I motioned for air. They were compelled to open the window, and you had your chance.
That I did see.
When one thinks that the house is on fire, instinct is at once to rush to the thing which we value most. It is a perfectly overpowering impulse, and I have more than once taken advantage of it. A mother grabs her baby.
You would grab your violin.
Exactly. Now, it was clear to me that Our Lady of today had nothing in the house more precious to her than the photograph we are in quest of. She would rush to secure it. The alarm of fire was admirably done. The smoke and shouting were enough to shake nerves of steel. It is hidden in a secret compartment of a cabinet. She was there in an instant, and I caught a glimpse of the photograph as she half threw it out. Unfortunately, the lady asked for me to be escorted outside, and I was unable to acquire it this very moment.
And what now?
Our quest is practically finished. I shall go with the Queen tomorrow, and with you, if you care to come with us. We will be shown into the sitting room to wait for the lady, but it is probable that when she comes, she may find neither us nor the photograph. It might be a satisfaction for Her Majesty to regain it with her own hands.
And when will we call?
At 8 in the morning, before she wakes, so that we shall have a clear field. Besides, we must be prompt, for this marriage may mean a complete change to her life and habits. I must wire to the Queen without delay. Now, where are my keys?
Good night, Miss Sherlock Holmes.
I have heard that voice before. I wonder who the deuce that could have been. Watson, will you stay here tonight?
I believe I shall.
Excellent. Really got it. Not yet.
But you have hopes.
I have hopes.
Then come, I'm all impatience to be gone.
Your Majesty, before we proceed, Irene Adler is married.
Married? When?
Yesterday,
But to whom?
to an English lawyer named Norton.
But she could not love him.
I am in hopes that she does.
Why?
Because it would spare your Majesty all fear of future annoyance. If the lady loves her husband, she does not love your Majesty. If she does not love your Majesty, there is no reason why she should interfere with your Majesty's plan.
It is true. And yet, well, I wish she had been of my own state. What a queen she would have made.
Miss Sherlock Holmes, I believe?
I am Miss Holmes.
Indeed, I believe we met yesterday. My mistress told me that you were likely to call. She left this morning with her husband by the 5:15 train from Charing Cross Station for the continent.
What? Do you mean that she has left England?
Never to return.
And the papers? All is lost.
We shall see. Sherlock Holmes, Esquire, to be left till called for. My dear Miss Sherlock Holmes, you really did me well.
I had not a suspicion until it was too late, and I had already betrayed myself. I had been warned against you months ago. I had been told that if the Queen employed an agent, it would certainly be you, and your address had been given to me. Yet you devised a scheme that made me reveal what you wanted to know. But, as you might be aware, I have been trained as an actress. Male costume is nothing new to me. After I realized what had happened, and subsequently had you escorted out the house, I costumed myself and followed you to your door to make sure that I was really an object of interest to the celebrated Miss Sherlock Holmes. Then I, rather imprudently, wished you good night and started for Temple to see my husband. Being pursued by one as formidable as you, we both thought the best resource was flight. And so you will find the nest empty when you call tomorrow. As to the photograph, your client may rest in peace. I love and am dearly loved by a better person than she. The Queen may do what she will without hindrance from one whom she has cruelly wronged. I keep it only to safeguard myself and to preserve a weapon that will always secure me from any steps she might take in the future. I leave a photograph of myself, which the Queen might care to possess, and I remain, dear Miss Sherlock Holmes, very truly yours, Irene Norton, née Adler.
What a woman! Oh, what a woman! Did I not tell you how quick and resolute she was? Would she not have made an admirable queen? Is it not a pity that she was not on my level?
From what I have seen of the lady, she seems indeed to be on a very different level to your Majesty. I am sorry that I have not been able to bring your Majesty's business to a more successful conclusion.
On the contrary, my dear miss, nothing could be more successful. I know that her word isn't violent. The photograph is now as safe as if it were in the fire.
I am glad to hear your Majesty say so.
I am immensely indebted to you. Pray tell me in what way I can reward you. This ring.
Your Majesty has something which I should value even more highly.
You have but to name.
The photograph.
Irene's photograph? Certainly, if you wish it.
I thank your Majesty. Then there is no more to be done in the matter. I have the honor to wish you a very good morning.
And that is the tale of how a great scandal threatened the kingdom of Bohemia, and how the best laid plans of Miss Sherlock Holmes, the great detective who solves even the most improbable cases, were beaten by one woman who refused to be cowed. It is also why, when Sherlock Holmes speaks about me, she still refers to me as the woman. And with that, dear audience, I bid you good night.